It's time for CIBL Biz Tips, bringing you actionable strategies to grow and improve your business. Prepare to become civilized.
What's up, Central Illinois? Welcome to CIBL Biz Tips, where we bring you concepts and strategies to grow your Central Illinois business. Today, we are joined here with Cari Rincker. She is here for the third and final session of How to Start an LLC. Cari's the owner of Rincker Law with locations in Shelbyville, Champaign, and New York City. In the first two sessions, we talked about what is an LLC, how to apply for an LLC. So, Cari, in the final session, let's talk a little bit about how to properly maintain your LLC.
Yeah. So, listen, kudos to the listeners who have formed an LLC, but if you're not maintaining those corporate formalities, then you may be foregoing one of the big advantages of having an LLC, which is liability protection, and to maintain that corporate shield. And so what I mean by that is that if you were going to be sued, then one of the things that the court would consider on whether or not to pierce the corporate shield and go into your personal wealth would be the maintenance of corporate formalities. So did the LLC from the very onset have an operating agreement? Did they have meeting minutes that incorporated and approved that operating agreement? Okay. And then the statute actually requires that there would be annual meeting minutes. Okay. Now, I realize fully that as a solo entrepreneur myself, that it seems really silly to sit there and have a meeting with yourself, but this can just be a meeting on paper, okay? And what you do is you just set up a reoccurring calendar entry as a reminder to yourself to do it, on the third Tuesday of March or whatever it is that your operating agreement says. Whenever you pick to have your annual meeting, you just want to make sure to the best of your ability that you adhere to that. So if you say that you're going to have it on the first day of May, it's not the end of the world if you have it on the first day of June, but really try to have this, okay? And the things that you're going to want to discuss in this annual meeting would be big events that have happened. Perhaps you've opened a new office, perhaps you have hired a business attorney, or you're working with a new accountant. Maybe you want to approve a budget for the next year, something big that's happening, in your business. So you're just going to want to try to memorialize those types of things. And then I give my clients a corporate book. I think, you can get them online as well for like $60, $70, $80. And I think that's a nice physical place to place your corporate minutes, in addition to obviously keeping an electronic copy as well.
Excellent. So
is there a required amount of time involved, or just a number of meetings?
Just once a year is required.
Just once a year.
Yeah.
Perfect.
And then not the bylaws. The bylaws are for corporations. Operating agreements are for limited liability companies. But the operating agreement should also set forth why there should be special meetings. For example, maybe the LLC is buying real estate, right? And, one of the things that I need as an attorney, if I'm showing up at a real estate closing, is the closing agent is going to ask for meeting minutes approving that real estate transaction. So that would be an example of a special circumstance with, again, meeting minutes that are on paper. If you don't want to have meetings just on paper, you can actually have an actual real meeting. You can have it on Zoom, just like we are on Zoom right now, right? You don't actually have to all be in the same room, and just have somebody memorialize the minutes and keep them. I mean, the court is going to be more concerned about the meeting taking place than what was discussed and what wasn't discussed, and how formal was it. Again, business casual, right?
Yeah.
Yes.
So let's say it is a single member LLC. How does a meeting take place if you are the sole member of your LLC?
Yeah, I would just, I have a form meeting minutes, and I literally just kind of I have a meeting with myself for about a half an hour or 45 minutes. And I sit through these things. Perhaps at that point in time, perhaps your taxes have already been filed and you want to state in your meeting minutes your profits or losses, perhaps what your goals are for the next year. You're just going to want to memorialize all that to the best of your ability.
Excellent. And all this, I know a lot of listeners have probably heard you mention the corporate shield or the corporate veil. So to keep your business entity intact, if you were to ever appear in court and someone says, can we see, your meeting minutes? Can we see all these items? That would be this meeting minutes would be one of the things they need to see to make sure you're protected in that case.
Yeah, that's correct. That's
Okay.
right. That would be one of the things. And one of the other red flags for the court would be the commingling of assets. So you're going to want to make sure that when you have an LLC, it's not required under the law, but I would really recommend having a separate bank account, which is why getting that federal employer identification number pretty soon is important, because straight out of the gate, you're going to want to really keep your business expenditures and your LLC, your personal and your business expenditures separate.
Perfect. Great. So sounds like just make sure you're keeping them separate, keep your documentation in order. And is there anything we're missing, Cari?
No, I think that is it. You're just going to really want to make sure that you're maintaining that separate entity, from your personal life. So one time in a divorce, I was in a deposition and the husband was paying for clothes and all of his lavish things out of his business account. That was an improper expenditure. I mean, I'm not the IRS, but he would not do well in an audit. Mm-hmm. So, I think that's the big thing that you want to try to keep in mind.
Great. Excellent. Well, cool. So, Cari, if a business owner's out there wanting to create an LLC or potentially work with you in any other way or fashion, how can they get a hold of you and start that process?
Well, I am right here in Shelbyville, Illinois. My office is located right by the courthouse. We are a little under construction at the moment, but you can also follow me on social media and find me online at rinkerlaw.com.
Excellent. Right. And I know you're big in the ag community and you are actually a podcaster as well. What is the name of your podcast, if any ag professionals would like to catch that?
Yeah, it's called Ag Law Today. It's an effort with Purdue University Extension, and you can find me online on the website at aglawtodaypodcast.com.
Perfect. Great. Sounds good. Well, so for all you listeners out there, if you're ready to set up your LLC, contact Cari. Also, while you're listening, please subscribe on your favorite podcast platform. While you're there, please leave us a review. You can also find us on social media on LinkedIn and Facebook, and you can find Garrett and I personally there as well. Until next time, y'all have been civilized. Take care.
Thanks, Cari.
Thank you for listening to this episode of the Central Illinois Business Leaders Podcast. You can find us on Facebook at facebook.com/CIBL podcast. You can also follow us on LinkedIn. Don't forget to subscribe and leave us a review. It's the civilized thing to do.